Dujanay, I think John Deere is overrated.
I think so too. They're kind of like well, I won't say that, but they're not as good as everybody thinks they are.
What, the Dallas Cowboys of lawn equipment?
Or Ford.
Oh, wow. Hey, I know someone that likes my F-150 though.
Yeah, it is nice, very nice.
Hey, what's nice to have you right here to watch the Power Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Competition Plus Power Hour. Over there, Mr. Dujanay Bland, host of the Not Bland Show. I know later on he will also be live, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and switching gears a little bit and going to carry the pigskin on the upcoming episode, Dujanay. Guys, I'm Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer. This is the Competition Plus Power Hour. Let's dive into it with peak breaking news from around the world of drag racing. Yes, the NHRA Mission Food Series was not in action this past weekend, but that doesn't mean drag racing wasn't going on, because it certainly was. CompetitionPlus.com certainly took up the banner of the Professional Drag Racers Association and showcased action from Thunder Valley.
Yeah, pretty nice. I wish they would have more people at those things, but I know a lot of people watch on their lives. So, yeah, there was great action there with the PDRA, and, some heavy hitters were there as well.
Absolutely. And the PDRA, I agree with you, Dujanay. It fascinates me they don't have more people in the stands than they do. It truly is some of the best door slammer drag racing that there is in the world. And what takes place, for example, in Top Sportsman and Top Dragster within the PDRA is absolutely insane. I don't understand it. Some of the people in Top Sportsman, I'm like, you could have qualified for Pro Nitrous. You could have qualified for Pro Boost. Why are you bracket racing your Pro Mod?
Yeah,
it is absolutely fascinating. And throughout the Pro Boost, Pro Nitrous, all the way to, I assume they still call it the Bracket Bash, it is absolutely great drag racing. And that doesn't always translate to fans in the stands. Granted, the way the PDRA is structured, they don't necessarily need the fans in the stands. But I can tell you, racers want to race in front of people. They mention that routinely. And I have been to PDRA races at Dorana Motorsports Park, a.k.a. Galat Motorsports Park. Great crowd. And I have been to, well, we'll talk about in just a few moments with some other news, Summit Motorsports Park with PDRA, and nobody's in the stands.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. I think the PDRA wants to be at tracks that are able to certainly accommodate the car count they have, but maybe not the fan attendance count always works out that way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's great action, and people definitely are definitely tuned into it for sure. I think it's some of the best pro mod racing that we see throughout, and it's just strange to me though. Like, if I got a pro mod car that can actually win in pro mod, then why don't I race in pro mod? It just seems like a lot of work to try to race it in the sportsman class. It seems like a ton of work.
Look, that's their choice. Hey James, how you doing, man? Good to see you in the comment section. I know, but it is great drag racing across the board. Some great characters, and you have some people doing it, 660 feet. They really like doing it there at the PDRA. Not to mention the Franklins are some of the coolest, nicest people in drag racing.
Yeah. That is a plus.
Yes.
That is a plus.
Yes. And, people within the National Hot Rod Association go over there, race, and even work there. Will Smith, though he's in the Top Fuel Ride, he's still heavily involved from what I understand with the PDRA and has been for years on the marketing side of things and official side of things. I mean, I've seen him helping clean the track to selling sponsorship to being the guy you see at the trailer handing out your credentials. So, wherever he's got to step in, he'll get the job done. PDRA is a great organization. I would love to see it, again, have those fans in the stands routinely, because there is such great drag racing going on. And it would be a great roundtable one day. No offense to Tommy, but like Tommy, seated, and you've got someone like Bader there. You got someone from some other segments of drag racing. Like, how do we get PDRA drag racing, better attended routinely, and fill up a place like Thunder Valley?
Yeah. That would be an awesome roundtable to figure that out. I would be interested in knowing what folks think about that, because it is kind of, like I said, it is kind of puzzling that's something that people just don't go to. I mean, they go to all the other ones. Why not that? So maybe it's the time of year or whatever the case may be. But I mean, doesn't seem to affect any other drag racing. So I'm not really sure.
It is great drag racing. If you look, I know you're probably hearing us like, man, are y'all bashing the PDRA? No, we want you to go to a PDRA event. My YouTube channel, before I got connected with Chris Graves, Funny Car Chaos, and now Sega, it was heavily going to PDRA drag races in between NHRA drag races and covering. I think one year I covered just about every race following Johnny Placino's Strutmasters.com connection, and I being sponsored by Strutmasters.com. And it was, again, some of the best drag racing I've ever encountered. So go to your local PDRA event. Yes.
Yeah, most definitely. This is
well, Drag Racing Mayhem, I would have to disagree. They don't even have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Which I do wonder about that. About that. Even having Flow, why not have your own YouTube channel?
It's something that is underrated, having a YouTube channel.
Yes. So congratulations to those who won over the PDRA. You can go catch all the coverage on competitionplus.com. Take the time, go to the website, and there's so much more there at competitionplus.com. By the way, speaking of YouTube channels, we have something dropping on Competition Plus TV, the YouTube side of competitionplus.com, that you certainly are going to want to see if you are not subscribed to Flow.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Although a lot of stuff that drops here is pretty interesting, but I'm looking forward to that. I definitely will be tuned in for sure.
Yeah, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the Night Under Fire drag race, the movie, to premiere on the YouTube channel. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell icon. Subscribing is free, and if you want to be notified, hit the bell. And when this drops tomorrow on the YouTube channel, Competition Plus TV, you'll be notified and you'll be ready to lock in for Night Under Fire action. And that is great for the folks that were not watching in person, or if you do not have a Flow subscription. Yeah,
that'll be fun. And it's cool that Bobby's putting that together so that can be done.
Absolutely. And guys, again, you all tune in and make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you are notified. And speaking of Bader continuing to make moves, and it's my understanding that it's not done. This is just phase one, but he's taking care of the Sportsman Racer with an alternative IHRA World Finals at Norwalk with 150,000 big ones.
Yeah, and something that should have been done. He has a ton of sponsors that are involved in this, and from Summit to Blueprint Engines, PJH, Track Bite, Fuel Factory. Like, this is what should have been done in the first place, is having sponsors to help and contribute to, purses, etc. So this is really cool for those who, want to finish and who are looking forward to finishing. This is a great spot. Bader always doing something, and what a better person to put it together. And like you said, just phase one. I'm interested to see where all of this goes for the future. But he has been one that has really contributed to drag racing, and entire family contributed to drag racing in a positive way. And this is just another feather. You know what I mean? And it's a big deal.
It absolutely is a big deal, and you cannot deny that Bill Bader is passionate about drag racing and passionate for the racer with a move like this. So I'm going to try. They've got something interesting that they have worked out with the game that's out. And I know you've got some experience with the game.
Yeah. So if you go to Chad Green Motorsports Facebook page today, if you click on the link there, you'll get his 2026 funny car. There's supposed to be, I think there's a Pro Mod car and a couple other cars that are supposed to drop on the actual game. But you can get the 2026 funny car now. So it's really cool. There's some things they've got to work out with the game, but overall, it's a pretty cool deal for Chad Green to, get that whole thing worked out there. They had a nice little thing with the reel or whatever. And it's a cool looking car. And I haven't driven it yet, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, a lot of fun. And it's the little things, man. It's the little things. There's some things they could fix with the game, especially like on the back end of stuff. I mean, sometimes you cut a 30 light. You cut a 30 light and you end up the guy in the other lane cuts a 1 something and you still lose. Like that doesn't add up. But overall, it's pretty cool. So go and get your funny car.
I've got to download it, and I've got to take advantage of this. And I will be sharing this later on to McKinney Corp as well because, well, Chad's in a McKinney chassis and funny car prepared body. So that's very cool. Literally a McKinney on the game. And that BP Pro Auto has also got to be excited about it. Again, another side of, hey, we want to do this for you as a marketing partner, and you're going to get that much more exposure with being on our car, not just TV, but people interacting with the promo code and that type of thing, and seeing this hot rod on a video game. That's cool. Smart move by Chad. I'm sure Hunter, his son, is involved in this some way, somehow. Hunter has done a great job with the social media for his pops. They've got one of the bigger followings in all of NHRA drag racing. They have continued to put out good content. They've pushed content. They have made some great partnerships. And as you can see right there, make sure you're following them. Chad Green Motorsports, over 400,000 followers, almost 410,000 followers. One of the largest, if not the largest, out there.
Yeah, they do put in the work. And go over there. If you're not part of the page, be a part of the page. And click on the link and get your free funny car.
Absolutely. Well, look, that is going to be it for the peak breaking news here on Competition Plus Power Hour. We're going to transition to our Weldon High Performance guest of the week, and that is going to be Mitch Kalitta. We're going to introduce ourselves to a new Kalitta and making soon enough a debut in Top Alcohol Dragster.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Mitch Kalitta, welcome to the Competition Plus Power Hour, man. Good to have you on and, dive in on you and what you want to do, and I assume eventually taking over the reins of Kalitta.
Yeah, that would be pretty exciting. There's really not any plans for that right now. We're just trying to dive into this experience here with the alcohol dragster for the moment. But you never know, right? I mean, this drag racing.
Absolutely. And look, your last name and drag racing, it's synonymous. It's like peanut butter and jelly. It goes together. Okay. What about you though? Obviously, you're going to hop in a top alcohol dragster. You've already been out there for a while. What has been your upbringing to this point where you want to be involved in this way, and you're not one of those family members that we all wonder, like, how did they go that way instead of the way we thought?
Yeah, obviously the Kalitta family has been pretty hardcore drag racers, since like the '60s, probably before then. I don't know. And then just growing up in the sport, my dad was racing the Mac Tools Top Fuel Dragster before I was even born. It's the same sponsor, same team. So it's just like every year I get to watch, I get to be a part of it. I started working on the car at a pretty young age, to be honest. Just getting familiar with all the parts, and meeting so many people in the sport has been really exciting. So uh, it's even more exciting to get the opportunity to run this car with the Randy Meyer Racing team, and really have the support of everyone at Kalitta Motorsports and Connie and my dad, and especially Chad. He's the one that put this together for me.
What's your experience being in race cars? Where did you start?
Yeah, okay. We go back all the way to, I started with mini bikes, dirt bikes. I started with the training wheels. My mom would sometimes take me to the races because, my dad was out drag racing. So that was always kind of an interesting event. And then I transitioned to quarter midgets, and I had a little bit of success with the quarter midgets. Same deal. We didn't really make it to a whole lot of races because of the NHRA schedule. I probably did about 10 of those. I think I won maybe two. I think one of them there was actually just me and one other guy racing. It was kind of a heads up deal. And then I got this pretty fast go-kart, and I did a little bit of the quarter midget was an oval deal, and then the go-kart was a road course. So that thing was pretty fast. I remember that thing was probably a little too fast for me at the time. I think I was like, I don't know, 10 or 11. So I don't know. We did a couple races with that. Didn't have a whole lot of success, and then uh, really transitioned over to soccer at that point. And I played soccer like full time for middle school, high school, even in college. And then after college, that's kind of when I was like trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I started working for the company and flying airplanes, and then I started last year running Sean Langdon Super Comp car. And that was the first time I'd ever really drag raced my life.
Interesting.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously around it the whole time, but
Yeah.
your dad has some, not just some, but a great pedigree also in the open wheel segment of the world on dirt. So a lot of options before you, and eventually getting around to the drag racing side. What in particular about the Super Comp car appealed to you?
I think it was just a great opportunity at the time, because I've always been really into drag racing, and that's, I go to all the races for the most part with my dad working on the car. And really Sean was the one that brought it up. He's like, we need to get you in this car. And we did a couple races there, and then I transitioned over to Bo Butner's car. But yeah, and I just really, always watching it in the super complex. I wasn't really familiar with the index racing. That whole thing was foreign to me. So I honestly just recently really starting to get a better understanding of it. Before it was just kind of like, hold the pedal down, let go of the button on time. And obviously the procedure of it, putting the button down and then the gas and then let go of the button, that was kind of a big learning curve at first. But it's been fun. I really enjoyed the index racing for drag racing so far.
Yeah, indexing is different, and the people
Yes.
who do it well, I know a lot of people harp on bracket racing, this and that, but the people who do index racing well, I commend them to go dead on and adjust a car through a day and a night in the track conditions. It's impressive.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even like learning too, like setting up the car faster than the index and then having to drive to the finish line. I did the race last week in Lucas Oil Divisional at Indy, and there was a couple times where I got out of it, and that was like my first experience doing that. So that was really fun, and just trying to get a full rounded scope of what it's like to actually beat these guys at a super comp race, which I haven't had a lot of success doing until last weekend.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, how did this deal come about with you being able to get in a top alcohol dragster?
Yeah, well, so really, I just, I go to all the races. I'm like, it'd be nice to get on the racetrack a little bit more. So uh, I brought that up to my dad and Chad, and Chad, he always makes stuff happen. He's the man, obviously. So he went up to Randy and was like, is there an opportunity to get him in the car and just test? There wasn't really any expectations other than just test, not even really to get the license, just see how it's going to go. So Randy agreed to do a test session in Norwalk, and I think we were going to do one after Brainerd or something like that. And yeah, so then obviously I ended up testing before Norwalk because Randy just decided to go off on his own and do this. It was kind of a Goodyear tire test at Dragway 42, an NHRA track. So he just needed a driver for that, and that was I did 2 days of that right before the Norwalk National. Just really just get all the stupid stuff out of the way. Just nobody was there. It was kind of nice to just get in the car, figure out how to put it in forward, how to do a burnout. Just how it launches. It was a good experience there.
Well, just about nobody better out there than Randy Meyer to get in the cockpit of one of his hot rods and get trained up and get ready to go. So many have done that have gone on and had so much success. So definitely going to be in a good hot rod. You have a good opportunity before you, and it's cool that it worked out that way. Able to learn it all and not under any eyes. Like, it's amazing how many people can be at testing and they're there and they're capturing things. We talked about Chad Green and Hunter Green a little earlier. Well, I was at Hunter's licensing in Top Fuel, or a portion of it, and you can watch YouTube because, well, if I film it, it's going on YouTube eventually. And steering got all crossed up in the Top Fuel Dragster, and the crew's trying to straighten everything. And we eventually had him on, talked to him about that. But you just never know what's going to happen, and you got to work. You got to go through it to work it out. So what were some things that you encountered it, you worked it out, you're like, I got it now, and I'm glad I got it now, but I needed to experience it?
Yeah, there were definitely a few. The first one that comes to mind is we were in the pits. This is the first time I ever really take my foot off the clutch in a dragster. So just going forward, going reverse, and then we went reverse, shut it off, and then we drug it up to the lanes, and then we started it up in the water box, and I took my foot off the clutch, and the thing went reverse immediately. I was like, that was a great start. And then obviously got forward, did the burnout. Everything was pretty good with the staging on the first one, and then took off, lifted at like the 330, and then I actually ended up putting my foot back down on the throttle after I lifted, just because it launches you forward in your seat, and so I kind of double whacked the throttle. So obviously Randy was advising me not to do that one again.
Yeah. Hey, see, that had to be a portion of this whole entire thing of learning, that there was no pressure. You didn't have to worry about people watching you and potentially going on social media. You were just kind of able to go through the motions and make the mistakes without having onlookers.
Yeah, that was nice. There were a few people there. I think Brian Karate and Antron were there because Brian was testing one of his cars, I believe. But yeah, it was just nice having Chad, my dad, and Randy there, because between those three guys, I mean, that's all the advice you really need on how to drive these things. And when it comes to like in the two pulling the chutes, that was something that came on later. And it seemed like every time I did it, for whatever reason, there was always something wrong. So only one chute was coming out. So I was like, oh, this actually isn't too bad. I heard people saying how hard the chutes hit when after 1,000 feet or 1,300 feet. I was like, it's really not that bad. And then finally we made a full run and both the chutes came out, and I couldn't believe it. I think the G-forces of that was like more than anything in the entire run.
crazy.
Yeah.
Look, I love getting this perspective. On my Between the Slicks, I have talked to so many people who have got their license, whether it's Top Alcohol Dragster or in a Top Fuel car or a funny car, and it's fascinating to hear you and it being fresh to you and us getting that, because I think even as fans and media in the stands, in the press box, wherever, kind of take it for granted some of the things of a run. We look at that pulling of the chutes and everything that happens after as that an afterthought. But there's a lot going on, from even just pulling the chutes to shutting fuel off to this and that, pulling off the track, and what duties are at the end of the track. Like, are you going to be one of those drivers that rolls things up, or what are you checking? What do you turn it off? Did you forget this? Did you do that? There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, and it's even harder too when you're going way faster than you're used to, and the next thing you know, the finish line is like right there. But thankfully, having Chad and my dad, they were both advising me. They're like, when you make this full run, pretend like the finish line is the mile-an-hour cone right before the 1320, because by the time you actually end up, your brain recognizes you're there and you hit the chutes. I mean, you're probably going to be already past the finish line. So lift, get the chutes out by the mile-an-hour marker, and you're good. So that's what I did, and then eventually, it starts to catch up to you, and then obviously getting the fuel off, like you said, after the run, and turning off. Drag Race 42, it's actually a pretty. They extended it, but for whatever reason on that test day, they had a bunch of cones there, so I was pretty concerned that I was going to slam through one of the cones, and especially one of the runs, I just didn't pull the chutes, and I was coming in pretty hot. But you kind of figure out how fast the thing can turn and if you can make the turn or not. Just try not to do anything stupid.
Yeah, definitely. Throughout the whole process, though, what do you think was the hardest thing that you had to do and get into a rhythm with this particular car?
I would say, the procedure really wasn't too difficult. I would just say, like, doing everything that Randy wanted me to do procedurally wise. How long you want to be off the clutch when you're, even just rolling into the water, backing up, how long you want to be off the clutch, because you don't want to get, too much heat. And obviously that's, everybody knows that drives the nitro cars. And, just not oversteering it when you're going in reverse. I think at first I was probably moving it a little bit too much and just not being smooth enough on the reverse. So there's just a lot of little things that you just try to tidy up, because you obviously want to do everything perfectly, and then you want to get in a good rhythm so you can just repeat it over and over, and everything's the same, and the car will start running. But thankfully, I went through a tire shake and smoking the tires instantly. So that was nice to get that one out of the way. I would say, catching the tire shakes pretty easy, because you can't see, just everything starts shaking. But the tire smoke was kind of a difficult one, because especially early on, the thing takes off normally and it's going pretty fast. But when it smoked the tires, it felt so smooth. Like, I could barely tell it was smoking the tires. So I just lifted, and then I asked everyone, I was like, smoke the tires, right? They're like, yeah, smoke the tires. I'm like, okay, good. I don't look like a complete idiot lifting at the 60-foot mark.
This is an injected nitro car, correct?
I believe so.
Yes.
I think it is.
Yeah. Randy's only doing injected nitro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the funny
car.
Yeah, the funny car's injected nitro. Both or all three Dragsters are injected nitro. So yeah, Randy's a nitro junkie for sure. Old Top Fuel pilot, in fact.
Yeah.
But Mitch, with all this, what is the 411 on the NHRA debut? And is it going to be at a regional first, or take a crack at a national event first? I know Randy's very particular about drivers getting their chops in before going to a national event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, it's going to be at the Brainerd national event. We'll make the debut there. He obviously felt that I did a good enough job during testing to give me the opportunity. We were hoping maybe to do one of the NHRA ones before Brainerd. Can't remember which one it was. Maybe down in actually, it would have been 42. They were going to have an event at Dragway 42, but that didn't pan out, obviously. So Brainerd's going to be where we're going to make the debut.
That sounds good. That sounds good. You feel like you're ready and comfortable for a national event debut?
Oh yeah, I think I'm ready. I've been watching these cars for forever, and you never really know how you're going to do until you get in the seat and actually
Right.
experience it, make some laps. But I did feel fairly comfortable, and especially towards the end there when we started making a lot of full runs, I did feel ready, and I'm at the point where it's like the fear of just being in the car was gone. It was like excitement to just get someone in the other lane and just hopefully whoop them. That's where I'm at right now.
Awesome.
Well, that national event in the Randy Meyer Racing Camp with Randy, whoever your teammate's going to be, and then obviously your family, you're going to have a great supporting cast there for you, and I'm sure you're going to have a great national event, great debut. I want to ask before we let you go. So yes, Kalitta, synonymous with drag racing, motorsports, but synonymous also in other areas. Connie, flying from the massive and successful company Kalitta Air to the wild in-air moments that we've all heard, to your dad, from what I understand, is a very accomplished and machinist and knows how to get things done in the machine shop. He also flies as well, from what I understand. So what else do you do other than drag racing? Seems like the Kalittas got more going on than just drag racing. Except maybe Chad. Chad might be the one that's like just drag racing for all I know. I don't know. But what do you got going on?
Chad's everywhere, man. But for me, I mean, unfortunately, I'm kind of, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately. Fortunately, I'm in both aviation and drag racing as well. I have my private pilot license, instrument rating, multi-engine rating. So there's this Baron 58 that I fly around. I do some trips for the company. Also just, sometimes flying to the races or whatever. So I really enjoy doing that. And I'm in the finance area for our aviation company as well. I've kind of worked all over. I've been on the ramp, fueling planes, polishing them up. I've been in our dispatch. So I have a, pretty well-rounded view of the company and a lot of experience working aviation. And it's fantastic. I really love it. And, flying's right up there with drag racing, to be honest. And I definitely get to fly more than drag race, but that may change here with the 8 races I got coming up.
Yeah, that'll work. Before we let him go, though, we should let him see this Vision One hand cleaner flashback.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
The winner of the number 4 man in points, Kenny Bernstein's Bud King.
Alan has hair.
Now, Kenny struggled a little bit this weekend, and Doug's car has been running very well. Let's take a look at that round 1 race. Kenny's car loses the rods as it heads down the racetrack. Kalitta makes a great lap, and Bernstein knows he missed an opportunity here this weekend.
They got the tire loose first about half track when the clutch kerplunked out there. They got it loose, and then the tires went up, the RPMs went up, and it drops cylinders when it does that and misfires and everything else it shouldn't do. But that's why
Kenny's buff. Look at him.
I know, right?
They did a great job. We just were off a little bit from half track on.
Number 4 qualifier Joe Amato beat Doug Herbert in the first round. Qualified 5th, Doug Kalitta. He topped Kenny Bernstein, as we saw in his round number 1 match. The American International Airways Kitty Hawk car out of the Kalitta stable of race cars. And of course, we noted earlier, the patriarch of the Kalitta clan, Connie, returning to the Top Fuel Wars at this event. Doug started to pull ahead, then smoked the tires. Amato hazed him in the middle of the racetrack. Goes 481 at 298 miles an hour, and he moves into the final 4. Definitely having an impact on the Winston points chase. Watch again in replay. Look at Kalitta begin to pull up, and as he smokes the tires, Amato just drives away.
Now, all you have to do is make it to the semis.
Sorry.
Can you hear us now?
Uh-oh. Well, we've lost Mitch somehow, audio-wise.
Technology.
How does it happen? How does it happen?
Technology.
So
But that's pretty cool video though. It looks like he was at Brainerd, right? Tire smoking
Yes.
that thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hopefully I can avoid some tire smoke at Brainerd. That'd be better.
Yeah, he needs to make the semis to better his dad's Brainerd debut.
Yep. Well,
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. See you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
It's weird how that happens.
I don't know. Maybe something with his connection and video coming in. No telling. But that's cool that he's going to be making a debut in Top Alcohol Dragster, where his pops made a debut in Top Fuel. So maybe they need to keep that trend going. That's neat. Yeah,
that is neat. Looking forward to seeing him out there, man. It's it is a pretty cool thing to be able to go out there and kind of get out there and carry the family name. I think if it goes well, I think he does take the seat eventually. I do. You know how it is, the bug. Yeah. Once you get the bug, it's over. So this will be something to whet the appetite, and I think eventually he'll be there.
That, and there has just about always been a Kalitta out there, one way or the other. Whether it's Connie, obviously to the late great Scott, to Doug, there's just about always been a Kalitta out there. Matter of fact, that'd be a great, and thanks to Dave W., David Wazowski, remember DragRaceReference.com, pulling that great piece for us right here on Competition Plus Power Hour for the Vision 1 Hand Cleaner Drag Racing History Flashback. Gosh, that is just a lot.
It's a lot.
Man. So thank you, Dave, for that. And here's another one to pull for you. How long has it gone, national event-wise, having a Kalitta in the field in Nitro somewhere? So I wonder how long that has been, because Connie has been out there early 60s at least. And if not late 50s, but at least early 60s. And my dad talks about him, Gene Homer, and being in York, Pennsylvania for match racing, and Connie's there too, race scenario, and that's like 64 or something like that. So, I mean, been around for sure. So, yeah, I wonder how many national events has had a Kalitta involved somewhere. I mean, even Chad too, right? Chad drove. So, so
it'll be interesting. I'll be interested in that. I don't think it would be too many races that they hasn't been a Kalitta out there.
Right. Absolutely. And folks, some good questions into in the chat bleachers. Appreciate that. We'll get to them in just a few moments. We're going to continue rolling with the show here, and we want to take the time to bring up the Quarter Mile Classified's cool video of the week. If you need it at the 60-foot mark, the 330, the 660-foot mark, which is the 8th mile, 1,000 feet, all the way to 1320, Quarter Mile Classifieds is the place where you get it.
QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a new and easier alternative to online classified advertising. We make it a simple experience with $20 getting your car, hauler, engine, or parts listed for 2 weeks. If you want to make a bigger splash, we have VIP listings that provide even more exposure, including social media. On QuarterMileClassifieds.com, you get up to 10 photos of video and up to 2,000 characters to deliver the message you need to make the sale. QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a trusted classified ad partner of Competition Plus and the Rooftech Top Eliminator Bonus Fund. Visit QuarterMileClassifieds.com today.
Seeing the speed record change hands. Dixon had it briefly from Norwalk this year until Spencer Massey bowed out. The record holder is Antron Brown, still that monstrous 3.7.
J.R. Todd in a red line synthetic oil top fuel Dragster.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That was a long time ago.
Final pair, round one, top fuel. 368! There it is! Jay! Wow, how about that?
Insane.
Oh my! How
about 298 miles per hour at the 8th mile? Almost went 300 to the 8th. Wow.
Did you catch that? That many years ago.
Yeah.
387.
Hello. Jeez.
The quickest run in funny car history.
Are you kidding me?
Brakes are shot.
Wow. Where did that come from?
The fastest run to boot.
That's crazy.
I was talking with Dickie before the event on Friday, and he says, we're not going to change a whole lot, but we are going to try to run a little bit harder because Jimmy Prox showed that we can. Well, he didn't do a whole lot in qualifying. I mean, ran all right, went 398. He didn't qualify in the top half of the field. Then he laid that down. At 387, he's run 283 miles per hour at the 8th mile. Are you kidding me?
That is sick.
At 329 at the finish line, what an amazing run.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing. And look, if the conditions are right, Brainerd can hold it. And you can have some stellar runs there. And we also know, though, I think we go back 2 years ago, if things don't go right, you got to shut down the race.
Yeah.
So there are some interesting wrinkles at Brainerd I about did it. Brainerd International Raceway.
Yeah.
There's a northern one and there's a southern one.
Yes.
And it is very easy to get them tagged wrong. Just go ask Amy at Brainerd Motorsports Park how often people tag them, and they are thinking of the Great Northern Brainerd International Raceway.
Right.
And it is truly raceway. Great road course there, too. And we obviously know about the famed zoo and the party that takes place there. Dujanay, look, I have not been to Brainerd for the national event. I have been there, though. I was there for the test session that takes place after the national event. It's a very important test session. People are getting their stuff ready for Indy. It's really a test session that if you see people find something, mark them moving into Indy and the countdown. And if they don't have a good test session, you can write them off.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But pulling into Brainerd International Raceway, gosh, I almost did it again. That's what happens when you work for Southeast Gas Association. You go to Brainerd Motorsports Park all the time. But Brainerd International Raceway, I'm pulling in on Monday morning, and I have never seen. It was the longest line of campers leading up to and coming out of the track that I have ever seen in my life, and it was Monday morning, and they were still rolling out of that place.
That's crazy.
They know how to party, and it is a party, and they really get together. Look, as we talked with Spencer Hyde last week, great place to debut Outlaw Light Beer on your funny car. And there's a lot of Canadian presence up there, and great facility, great track, a lot of history, as we just saw on the Quarter Mile Classifieds cool video of the week. So, yeah, Brainerd, it's going to be cool. But also, did you catch the coverage there? One, you got to see why they don't use that side of the track for the long shot, because it was like right into board. And Brainerd has almost always had the opposite of the tower side shot panning. But also the camera that was about, I'd say 150 feet, we don't have that camera anymore.
No. Nope.
That's interesting. Very
that
interesting.
Is.
Yeah.
That is. It's definitely some cool shots that we don't have these days within the ESPN portfolio.
Yeah, that was interesting to see that. Now, look, it takes a special person to stand there with a camera all the time. And that might be one reason why it's not there, is quite literally the odds, and they are greater at that particular location. I think even more so at that particular time. But Brainerd International Raceway. It's going to be a great event. Always is. Looking forward to seeing that action. That action of the Great North with the National Hot Rod Association. So let's take some time. I think transition here, Dugenay, and we've got about 15 minutes in the show. Let's take some of these questions in the comment section. I think some folks have brought up some good questions. Andrew, thank you. Appreciate you always watching and commenting, even though we might not be able to get to each and every one of them. He asked, what do you guys think about Elite changing chassis this far into the season? Also, do you know what the differences are between them? Well, I think we can certainly answer part one, and then part two, I really think it's going to be underwhelming. Dugenay, what do you think part one there, though?
Well, it's a risk because we all know that different chassis don't respond the same way to a tune-up. So, can they take that new chassis and get the ball rolling quickly without having any setbacks? That's going to be key because we are 2 races left before the regular season is over. So I'm sure that they will be one of the ones staying behind and to test after Brainerd, and likely will give us a little bit of a peephole into what may be for the countdown. If they don't really perform very well in testing with that new chassis, probably not going to fare well during the countdown.
I find it an interesting move because you can have difference in reaction to a tune and drivability from car to car from the same company.
Yep.
And now you are going to transition to obviously a fine chassis builder. Make no mistake about it. Do not get me wrong. Right. From one fine chassis builder to another, and really makes you wonder if there's more involved than just we're trying to find something. And it might be that. To the second part of that, somewhat underwhelming. I'm not sure if you stripped them down, and I really haven't had an opportunity to do this with a Bickle car and a Haas car and those of that nature. But when you strip them down, there's not much difference between them. You're building within a rule set in a box.
Yeah.
And you do find variation here and there. There might be variation of weld procedure, things of that nature. But I can tell you just from my time at McKinney Corp, we'll have a chassis come in from another group, not going to name anybody, and we set the McKinney tree work on it with a body, and guess what? Almost matches up perfectly. So that tells us that, well, there are things within dimensions, put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I would think that they would be pretty much, I wouldn't say they're equal, but everyone is probably built similarly because of the fact that you have to be within this rules box that they have you in, so that everything is uniform. And I guess so. There's no professional or no advantages to how you build a chassis. You know what I mean? So I would think that part of it is probably status quo, but again, pulling out a whole entire new chassis, how it will respond and react is probably where things get a little questionable. You know what I mean? And how quickly can you get the car to respond in a positive way, so that you kind of keep the momentum that you had prior to the change, because they do have a little bit of momentum.
Right, and everything reacts different. So we'll see when they plug in. Again, let's say they do have some struggles. It's not any issue with those cars per se. It's them finding what that car wants. I mean, I've heard Daniel Wilkerson. We've had him on this show. They pulled out a matter of fact, go back to the second pro shootout, and the chutes don't come out. He goes in the sand. Obviously, it's going to need to be front half. They pulled out a new car, which was a new car, and get it ready to go, and it reacted far differently from the car that had a lot of laps on it. So, especially for, I believe, the top fuelers and the funny cars, because the chassis is the spring. They don't have a suspension. The chassis is the suspension. It's part of it. Well, metal has elasticity, and over time and stress, elasticity doesn't remain the same. And metal has a memory, and that's why you have people so often they're saying, well, we got some new pipe, and we're testing a new car, and we're, seeing what this chassis wants. It matters. It does change things.
Yeah, it does. So it'll be interesting. I think that's another good point. They very well may have some experience with it. So we'll see. But I that's what I'll be looking for, is to see how quick they can, get the car to respond positively so that they don't lose any ground when it comes down to the countdown.
Right, and look, like Dave W. is there mentioning, the fact of the matter is, way things are structured, it is really a 6-race season when you come down to it.
Yep.
And, we have talked ad nauseum the reality that we think that needs to change, and that the regular season needs to have more importance than it does right now. The fact of the matter is, it just seems like they're glorified test sessions, with all due respect to the NHRA and competitors and the at one time known Oscar that you are awarded. But with the availability that is afforded to the teams to go out there and show up for qualifying and the race and still make the countdown.
Yeah, that's the the reality of it. That even though they've put this regular season championship together, I mean, you still have people out there testing, so it really hasn't changed. It hasn't changed that much. I'm sure there are people that want to win, and obviously everybody, I guess, would like to have that extra money. But at the same time, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough to force the entire field to chase. If you're in a certain spot and you feel like you don't have a chance, well, guess what? You're going to revert to testing and trying different things to see what combinations and what things you can use within the countdown that are going to move you forward and give you that little bit of an edge within the countdown. So I don't know if it has changed, the trajectory of people just testing.
Right. Well, Mike, Kristen, I think that's a great idea, but if Bill's not paying, I'm not going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it's all about, baby.
Right. I was at Southeast Gassers Association race for the Rock Revival and completing the Ram Clutches Nationals, and I'm gonna go where I am being paid in a sport that I also love. Very blessed to be able to work in it. Yes. Took a lot of hard work to get to this point, but nonetheless, just to go to an event, there's not many of those events out there just to go at this point. So, yeah.
Show me the money.
It's a part of it. It's a reality for sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
What else we got in the comment section here, Jacob? You see anything else? Nope, not really. Okay. All right. Well, you all chime in.
I don't think so, Andrew. I don't think they will make a Top Fuel debut. I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Testing, yes, and getting licenses, sure, but no. They're going to run pro stock all the way through till the end of the season.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I don't know how racers do it quite yet. I hear about all they spend, and I'm not exactly sure, but yes, you can. Doesn't mean it's easy, but I think the people out there that have the most challenging job, in fact, are people in like Bill's position. That's track owners.
Yep.
And not that the challenges are any less for someone at a place such as Summit Motorsports Park, but I think of just down the road from me. I haven't been there yet. 30, maybe 40 minutes, maybe a little bit more. Nonetheless, the closest drag strip to me now is Sand Mountain Dragway in Alabama, and from what I have seen, it is narrow. It is a narrow track. Like, it's so narrow, Sega wouldn't really hold a race there. And
narrower
yet,
than Holiday?
Yes, much so.
Wow.
And I think of a track like that, and you're in rural Alabama. What do you do to be successful?
Yeah.
So it's challenging as track operators, and you all take the time and get to know and talk to some of these track operators, such as a Carl Blanton in Missouri at Mocan Dragway. He's a great person to talk to and will give you it straight and inform you on what it's like. I think of Amy there at Brainerd Motorsports Park. It's challenging.
It is.
And it may be, even though it says, look, you've got racers and you got tracks, and they have both got to exist for us to have this sport.
Yeah.
The sport of football doesn't need the grand stadiums that it does have. It just needs a field. I mean, think about it. I know, like, where would you put everybody, but it just needs a field. Baseball just needs a field. Soccer just needs a field. But you got to have the race track. And we're not in dirt drags, so you got to have a facility. And they have got to operate, and they've got to operate at a level that is, well, at least marginally successful for the track operator. I think of someone like Amy, her husband. They've been racers. They are racers. They own the track. They live at the track.
Yeah.
Like, it's more than just a track. It's home. And they're doing everything they can to make it successful because it's their livelihood.
Yeah.
So, yes, got to have the racer, but you got to have the track. They are fundamental to the sport. So, I don't know why I went on that tirade. Just thank your local track operator when you get an opportunity, and stop sending dumb Facebook messages about when is the gates opening, or do they have this, or do they have that. Like, stop pestering these people. My goodness.
Read.
Yes.
Reading is fundamental. You find out a lot by doing so.
I tell you, man. And by the way, when you go to the track, buy some merchandise, buy a hot dog, buy a hamburger. This past weekend I was announcing a drag race, and Carl Blanton there, he's kind enough, hey, you need anything from the concession stand? And took him up on that offer one time. But there was also one time I went down and I bought it on my own. Didn't get it like on the track. Got it through my card and being there. They were going to pay me anyway, so just giving a little bit back. And that's also why, as an announcer, I want to know what your meal deals are. I remember having Brett Kepner on, and Brett Kepner explained about announcing that, look, it's not about just announcing the race. I'm trying to make the track money. Like, I want to sell the T-shirts, and I want to sell the hot dogs. I want to sell the chicken finger basket. What are your meal deals? And plug that so that the business side of it goes well, because ultimately I don't have an announcing gig unless there is a track to go announce a race at where racers are showing up and there's an event. But, buy some merchandise. And speaking of merchandise, CompetitionBluffStore.com. Bobby Bennett has got merchandise, and it is some of the coolest swag out there. Look at this one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Busey Racing Engines. That's the car I grew up thinking about, like Pat Busey and Tony Christian with the Bel Air and all the epic battles they had. Oh, that's a cool T-shirt right there. Need to get that one and get Pat to sign it. Tom Mongoose McEwen, that is a good-looking shirt right there as well. Look, I'm telling you what, if you've got competitionplusstore.com swag, you've got some of the coolest swag at the track. What's next? Bring it up, Jacob. Oh,
I like that.
Got them all.
Got them all.
For the Mongoose right there. Oh, that's iconic. That's legendary. His win after the passing of the son. Dean Scusa. You know what? I will say the only thing lacking on this T-shirt, there should be this large plume of smoke.
Yes.
Behind Scusa's car. That's all.
Agreed.
But Crazed Nitro Freak is right. Tommy Mooney. Where else you gonna get a Tommy Mooney race cars, TMN race cars T-shirt with Carpenter, Cannon, and the hot rod that it has a rendition, modern version out there right now today. So yeah. Get it. The white wagon, like you can get Jared Perdue and Sega to sign this, or get Gene to sign this.
Yeah.
The Ghost of Fulton's Past, obviously, Rare and Morrison with Lee Shepard, absolute domination. Buddy Ingersoll, I love how this shirt says the car that scared them all, and it truly was. Just go, I think it's what, 88 or 89, right? No, I take it back. 86. I think it's 86 or 87 Bristol Finals for NHRA. I think they call it the Fall Nationals, actually. And you'll get the story on this. He almost beats Bobby Litt in the final, and everybody's, So, CompetitionPlusStore.com.
Yeah, good stuff over there. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, Dejanay, take us into the parting shot here.
Well, tonight we have a stellar shot from the legendary Steve Reyes of John Force's Wendy's Corvette. Force ran the version of the car in 1980, replacing the yellow and blue look of the Wendy's car in his full-time national tour debut the previous year. Unfortunately, the car wouldn't run quite as well, not making it to any finals and finishing outside of the top 10. But what a hell of a shot by Mr. Reyes. Of a really, really cool car. Classic John Force car.
I've got to say this. Next year, we are rolling around the year of Force, from what I understand. Man, I hope they got Jack Beckman like every race in some kind of throwback. I hope they are keeping like one wrap company just fully. I think they got to do their own wraps. But nonetheless, I hope that they are wrapping that thing. I hope by the end of it, Jack Beckman has got a grill and some gold chains because he's a rapper. Okay? Yeah. I hope. My goodness. It is just throwback after throwback after throwback. There's plenty.
Yeah, there is plenty. That was my thought when we all hoped that John would be able to run his own tour and be in the car, was all the classic cars like this one, your Superman car, like they all need to be on the car each and every week, something new, decked out with the peak, lettering. But that would be pretty awesome.
The Brute Force one went over so well.
It did.
I think that was last year, if I remember correctly. So I mean, it went over so well, and just that. I mean, you could work it out so easily, like particular wins, milestone wins, and the scheme of the car, and then like timeline of career type of situation. I mean, you can't tell me that even today that Wendy's hamburgers might not want to be a part of it. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, it's John Force, I'm just peak. They already did it once. Do the whole year. Just do it the whole year.
The whole year.
I mean, the merch that would sell yes. And I want the Flames black Castro car.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yes. So, like, all right, Y'all get the vinyl ready.
Yeah.
Y'all get the vinyl ready.
I'm hoping so. It's good. If it does, it's going to be good.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, look, we thank you for tuning in here for the Competition Plus Power Hour. Over there, Mr. Dujanay Bland, he will be live 7 p.m. Eastern with his own show and going to be talking some NFL. You said, was it NFC East that
NFC East.
Well, here, look, I can already tell you, Dallas isn't winning.
Winning the Bring Up the Rear award.
Right, probably. More like, or no, they're going to win we give you just enough hope to crash you and dash you on the rocks.
Yeah.
Right before losing in the fourth quarter with less than 2 minutes to go on a field goal kick, the win that was needed to win the division and make,
Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Yeah. There you go. So NFC East right there, summed up.
Yep.
Honestly,
Perfect.
You know what? I'm gonna go Redskins. I haven't looked at it at all. I'm gonna go Redskins for the fun.
You know, that exactly might be the case. They are, to me, the sleeper of it all.
Okay. Cool. Well, folks, go tune in. Mr. Bland, he's got a guest appearing as well, and they'll yak it up concerning the National Football League. We are glad you were here to talk about the NHRA, the PDRA, the IHRA, and all of the alphabet soup that is drag racing. Eat it up. Till next time, I'm Lee Kraft. God bless. Keep the pedal to the metal.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.